Good evening. As Chair of the Gwinnett County Board of Education, I hereby call to order the December 18th, 2025 business meeting of the board. I extend a warm welcome to everyone present for tonight's meeting. The board, Dr. Taylor, and I are pleased that you have joined us as we celebrate achievements, review information, and make policy decisions related to the effective operation of Gwinnett County Public Schools. Before we begin, I'd like to draw your attention to the screen on my left, where you'll see the school board's core beliefs and commitments. Beginning in August, our core beliefs and commitments will be on display during our business school board meetings. These statements aren't just words, they reflect the guiding principles and shape every decision we make and every goal that we set. They serve as a compass for our district, reminding us of our shared responsibility to foster a learning environment where every student can thrive. I encourage you to take a moment to read them carefully, as they are central to the work we do together as educators, leaders, and community members. The board began meeting at 2 p.m. for our monthly work session. During work sessions, we hear reports on student achievement, school operations, and system-wide initiatives. We may also discuss items that the board will be acting upon in tonight's business meeting. Please visit our board agenda online next week to see any of the detailed reports from the work session. The monthly business meetings of the board are open to the public. We are grateful for the number of people interested in our schools who are in attendance tonight. This business meeting is when the board conducts its business of governing the school system in a public arena. The business meetings are not meetings with the public. Therefore, comments from the audience will be confined to the time designated for citizens to address the school board, according to policy BCBI. Speakers are encouraged to maintain appropriate meeting decorum, follow appropriate protocols, protect the confidentiality of students, prevent defamatory statements, and ensure the impartiality of the board. The board requests that speakers not directly speak about individual students, parents, or staff members. Thank you for embracing these qualities and modeling them for our children in our community during tonight's meeting. Please silence your cell phones or communication devices before we begin with our proceedings. I would like to call to the podium Adam Witter, Director of Family Ministries at Lawrenceville First United Methodist Church, to lead us into a moment of reflection, followed by the Meadow Creek High School Air Force JROTC, under the leadership of Chief Master Sergeant Larry Tate, U.S. Air Force retired, who will present the colors and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Well, good evening, Dr. Simmons, board members, Dr. Taylor. I'm going to ask everyone to please rise and stand alongside me. Once again, my name is Adam Witter, and I bring you greetings and well wishes on behalf of Lawrenceville First United Methodist Church. Thank you for allowing me to be part of tonight's meeting. As we come together, may we demonstrate wisdom, integrity, respect, and grace in our interactions with each other. Let us acknowledge the many good things around us and ways we can be blessings to one another. Thank you to those in the audience who lend their leadership and services to our schools and community. We also extend our appreciation to the many individuals, our families, teachers, and others in the community who support public education and our public school students. Finally, let's keep the children of Gwinnett County in our mind as we speak, act, and make decisions tonight. With that in mind, I invite you to join me in a moment of silence for personal reflection on our students, our school district, and our greater community. Thank you. I ask you to remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Mr. Bitter and the Meadow Creek High School Air Force, JROTC, for being part of this meeting. We move next to students' public comments. Students addressing the board, you will notice 2 side podiums. Please proceed to the podium closest to you. At this time, Jasmine Caballero, please approach the podium, followed by Jackson Caballero. You are allotted a maximum of 3 minutes for comments.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jasmine Caballero. I'm a proud student of Ivy Creek Elementary School. In the past week, many good things have happened at school. First, I got nominated to be in Junior Beta Club, and I also won an award called the Caring Award. It is basically my teachers have picked me out of the whole school that I was best of showing empathy, kindness, community engagement, and more. That was awesome. I love my school in every way. For my opinion, I think my school is the best school ever. I go to school to learn, have fun, and play with my friends. I don't want to think that there could be a possible shooter in my school. But more importantly, we need one very special thing, a weapon detector. That is the one solution we can do to not have school shootings. I would like to address some of the people who come here and say that the solutions we have are bad. Like the kid might not feel comfortable going through a weapon detector. Well, then I guess your kid is okay with having a shooting at their school. No, absolutely not. And if you have a problem with having weapon detectors in my school, well, give me a better solution, because I never hear you tell me that. There's no other or better solution. Just think for a second. Do you think hiding in a corner with lights out and locking the door is going to keep you safe from a person with a gun? No, there's more than just hiding. We need more than a weapon detector. We need weapon detectors in my school. I get that a kid my age is less likely to bring a gun into school. So that means we should scan the adults before they come into the building, no matter if they're a teacher or a visitor. I'm always wondering when I come to the door of my school, hey, I'm sure I'm going to be safe. My teachers tell me that I'm safe at school, but how can we be sure? How do we know that our school is not next? We need weapon detectors. Not that I want it, we need it. It doesn't make sense that you protect older kids and not the younger kids. We should all be treated with the same safety. I want to keep the most important people in my life safe, my brother and my sister. I don't want them ever to witness a shooting in their school. To this day, I'm always thinking about the Appalachia High School shooting. Those kids that got shot did not deserve that. I always thought of my school as my second home. And my home I feel safe because I have an alarm system. Well, a weapon detector is basically an alarm system to keep us safe. I hope you think about putting weapon detectors in elementary school. In the end, I would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you for letting me speak tonight.
Thank you. Next up is Jackson Caballero, followed by Jordan Caballero.
Good evening. My name is Jackson Caballero. I'm in second grade at Ivy Creek Elementary School. I love our school. We have great teachers and fun subjects like art and gym. But lately, I've been thinking about something serious, making sure everyone here is really safe all the time. I want to talk about adding weapon detectors to our school entrances. You know, like the ones you see at big places like stadiums and big airports where everyone needs to be checked. Here are a few reasons why I think this is a good idea. 1. Safety first. The most important job of grown-ups is to keep kids safe in the news. Sometimes we hear scary things at schools. Weapon detectors help stop bad things from coming inside. They're like a big automatic security guard for our front door. 2. Peace of mind. If we know that everyone coming into our school has been checked and is safe, it helps us all worry less. When you worry less, it's easier to listen to your teacher, read your book, and play with your friends. Feeling safe helps our brains learn better. 3. A clear rule. It's a very simple rule. Safe things only. The machines make sure that everyone follows the rule every single day. We practice safety now. We already practice fire drills and tornado drills. We learn how to cross the street safely. This isn't just another safety step like wearing a seatbelt in a car. I want our school to be the safest place it can be, so we all can learn and play without worry. Having weapon detectors shows that we are serious about keeping our whole school family safe. Thank you for listening. Good night. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Good evening. My name is Jordan Cavallero. This is my first year at Ivy Creek Elementary School. I love my school because I get to learn and play. I want my school to feel safe for everyone. Weapon detectors can help keep our schools safe. When my school, it can stop bad things from coming in. When my school is safe, I get to feel happy and not scared. Please help us get weapon detectors. Thank you for listening and have a happy holiday.
Thank you to all of our students for their comments. We move next to the adoption of the agenda. Dr. Taylor, do you have any changes to the agenda?
I have no changes to the agenda.
Board members, do you have any changes to the agenda? Okay, board members, do I have a motion regarding the agenda?
I make a motion to adopt the agenda for the December 18, 2025 business meeting.
Thank you. I have a motion by Mr. Gasper. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is seconded by Dr. Therese. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. It is unanimous. Next, we will have board recognitions. Dr. Taylor, I'll turn it over to you.
I call on Dustin Davis Austin, Director of Academies and Career, Technical, and Agricultural Education. Mr. Davis Austin.
Good evening, Chairperson Dr. Simmons, board members, and Dr. Taylor. Tonight, I'm pleased to present one of our CTAE students and one of our CTAE teachers representing two different high schools in our district. Both of them are being recognized with national awards. Our student recognition this evening is for Marine Corps JROTC Cadet Candace Elkins from Parkview High School. Candace is being recognized for the honor of receiving the Legion of Valor Bronze Cross for Achievement. While over 300,000 students participate in JROTC nationwide, only a few dozen are recognized with this award each year. The stated criteria for the award are few. To earn this national recognition, students must rank in the top 10% of their JROTC unit and in the top 15% of their overall class standing. Of course, the caliber of students submitted far exceeds that criteria. Here's a short list of some of Candace's other achievements at Parkview High School. While only a junior, Candace serves as the Cadet Battalion Commander and holds the rank of Cadet Lieutenant Colonel, the highest rank in the unit. This position is normally held by a senior class member. She's in the top 6% of her class at Parkview High School. She has also served as the Battalion Executive Officer and the Color Guard Commander. She's an honor roll student and has earned her varsity letter in lacrosse. So as you can tell from these achievements, she is a well-rounded student athlete and is highly engaged at her school. Her record is indicative of the traits that the Legion of Valor Committee seeks when making their selections for this award. Candace is accompanied by her teachers, Lieutenant Colonel Scott Stimson, United States Marine Corps retired, and First Sergeant Nontron Ward, United States Marine Corps retired, and the principal of Parkview High School is David Smith. Our second and final recognition is for Lieutenant Colonel Robert Rooker, United States Army retired. Colonel Rooker is the senior Army instructor at Discovery High School. Allow me to give you a little history. During this past year, Yui Vo from Discovery High School was named a 2025 United States Presidential Scholar. Nationally, this recognition is given to no more than 161 students annually. To put this in perspective, 3.9 million students graduated from the United States high schools in 2025. Of the 161 total presidential scholars, only 3 were chosen from the state of Georgia. Each presidential scholar is subsequently allowed to name one of their teachers for special recognition. And with that said, I am proud to announce that our student chose Lieutenant Colonel Rooker. As such, we are recognizing him tonight as a 2025 United States Presidential Scholar Distinguished Teacher. Colonel Rooker has 14 years of experience in Army JROTC. He is a highly valued member of our JROTC teacher group. He is often sought out by his teacher peers to provide input and insight into the work of JROTC across our district. Colonel Rooker started the JROTC program at Discovery High School, and this year there are over 200 student members as part of the Titan Battalion. We are fortunate to have him as part of our GCPS CTAE and junior ROTC teacher team. Accompanying Lieutenant Colonel Rooker is the principal of Discovery, Robert Maffio. And as the director of CTAE, it gives me great pleasure to recognize these outstanding achievements this evening. Across Gwinnett County, our CTAE teachers work hard to provide valuable opportunities for students to explore many career fields. The GCPS students who choose CTAE are gaining valuable skills and knowledge as they prepare for their life beyond high school. And most importantly, they are helping our students achieve the mission of Gwinnett County Public Schools by pursuing excellence in academic knowledge, skills, and behavior for each and every student. At this time, I would like to ask Candace and Colonel Rooker to face the audience while we congratulate them on their achievements. Thank you.
Congratulations, Ms. Elkins and Lieutenant Colonel Robert Rooker for being recipients of these prestigious awards. And of course, thank you as well, Mr. Davis Austin. For our next recognition, I call on Dr. Tarika Williams, Executive Director of Federal and Special Programs. Dr. Williams.
Good evening, Chairwoman Dr. Simmons, our esteemed board, Interim Superintendent Dr. Taylor. It is my honor to announce that Paul Duke STEM High School has been recognized by the National Association of ESSA State Program Administrators as a National Title I Distinguished School. This prestigious recognition reflects the remarkable dedication and hard work of our students, teachers, administrators, and the entire school community. Each year, NASPA honors 2 schools in every state receiving federal Title I funds for their outstanding achievements in education. Since 1996, this program has celebrated schools that demonstrate exceptional student performance, close achievement gaps, or excel in serving special population of students. In Georgia, Title I schools ranking in the top 5% on the combined English language arts and math achievement rate score from the FY24 College and Career Readiness, which is known as CCRPI, were eligible to apply. Out of 82 top performing schools were invited. Paul Duke STEM High School was selected as one of only 2 selected schools in the state of Georgia in 2025. Specifically, Paul Duke STEM has been recognized for its excellence in serving special populations of students, including homeless, migrant, and English learners. As a part of this honor, Paul Duke will receive $20,000 in award funds and will be recognized at the National ESSA Conference, which will be held in Denver, Colorado in February. On behalf of the district, we extend our heartfelt congratulations to Principal Dr. Jonathan Wetherington, who is joining us tonight, along with his phenomenal faculty, staff, and students of Paul Duke STEM High School for this extraordinary achievement. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Wetherington.
Congratulations to you, Dr. Wetherington, and of course to your staff as well for the hard work you do every day to increase student achievement. And of course, thank you as well, Dr. Williams. For our next recognition, I call on Grady Caldwell, the Director of Behavior Support and Student Discipline. Mr. Caldwell.
Good evening, Board Chair, Dr. Simmons, board members, Superintendent Dr. Taylor. As Director of the Office of Behavior Support and Student Discipline under the Department of Academic Supports, led by Mr. Eric Thigpen, our office oversees district implementation of positive behavior interventions and supports, also known as PBIS. Assistant Director Chris Paul serves as our PBIS district coordinator and liaison to the Georgia Department of Education. Each year, the Georgia Department of Education has recognized schools and programs that have created and maintained a positive school climate through the implementation of PBIS. This is the final year the Georgia Department of Education will issue PBIS recognitions as the state transitions to a new Georgia MTSS system that incorporates behavior, attendance, and academic metrics. For the 24-25 school year, 19 GCPS schools earned PBIS operational status, and the highest ever, 74 schools were recognized as PBIS distinguished. Schools are recognized at 3 levels: emerging, operational, and distinguished, with distinguished representing the highest level. This is earned by schools meeting key data outcomes such as percentage of students with 0 to 1 office discipline referrals and reductions in total office discipline referrals, ISS days, and OSS days. At this time, I would like to recognize the following schools with certificates from the Gwinnett County Board of Education and the Georgia Department of Education in honor of their distinguished status. I will begin with schools that are located within the School Board District 1. There are 5 elementary schools, 3 middle schools, 2 high schools that receive the distinguished designation from District 1. Alcova Elementary, Fort Daniel Elementary, Freeman's Mill Elementary, Harbins Elementary, Levin Elementary, Decula Middle School, Grace Snell Middle, McConnell Middle, Archer High, and Grayson High. Congratulations to the schools from School Board District 1. Next, I would like to recognize the schools located within School Board District 2. There are 6 elementary schools, 5 middle schools, 4 high schools, and 1 special entity that received the distinguished designation from District 2. Benefield Elementary, Roberts Elementary, Simonton Elementary, Sugar Hill Elementary, Swanee Elementary, Walnut Grove Elementary, Creekland Middle, Jones Middle, Jordan Middle, Moore Middle, Twins River Middle, Collins Hill High, Discovery High, Lanier High, Secondary High, and Gwinnett Online Campus. Congratulations to those schools from District 2. Next, I'd like to recognize those schools located within School Board District 3, 6 elementary schools, 6 middle schools, 4 high schools, and 1 special entity. Level Creek Elementary, Riverside Elementary. Oh. Sorry. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Level Creek Elementary, Riverside Elementary, Simpson Elementary, Sycamore Elementary, White Oak Elementary, North Metro Academy of Performing Arts, Coleman Middle, Duluth Middle, Lanier Middle, Northbrook Middle, North Gwinnett Middle, Pinckneyville Middle, Norcross High, North Gwinnett High, Paul Duke STEM, Peachtree Ridge High, and the Bice Center. Thank you guys from District 3, 2, excuse me. At this time, I would like to recognize the schools from School Board District 4. There are 9 elementary schools, 4 middle schools, 3 high schools that receive this designation. Anderson Lizzie Elementary, Camp Creek Elementary, Craig Elementary, Knight Elementary, McGill Elementary, Nesbitt Elementary, Partee Elementary, Farr Elementary, Shiloh Elementary, Burkmar Middle, Five Forks Middle, Lilburn Middle, Trickham Middle, Brookwood High School, Parkview High School, and South Gwinnett High School. Congratulations to those schools from School Board District 4. And lastly, I'd like to recognize the schools located within School Board District 5. There are 12 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 1 high school to receive the distinguished designation. Alfred Elementary, Baggett Elementary, Baldwin Elementary, Bethesda Elementary, Chesney Elementary, Ferguson Elementary, Graves Elementary, Hopkins Elementary, Cunnahader Elementary, 4 years, Meadow Creek Elementary, Norcross Elementary, Rockbridge Elementary, Summer Middle, Sweetwater Middle, and Gwinnett School of Mathematics, Science, and Technology. Let's give a round of applause to all of our schools. Thank you, principals and your staff, for your dedication to the students of Gwinnett County Public Schools. Thank you, Chairperson Dr. Simmons, board members, also for your support of our office as we support schools with creating culture and climate that impact student achievement. So thank you very much. Happy holidays.
Congratulations to all 74 schools on your hard work in supporting students through this PBIS implementation. And of course, as well, we thank you, Mr. Caldwell. Chair Dr. Simmons.
Congratulations again. Thank you, Dr. Taylor. At this time, those recognized for their achievements may quietly leave the boardroom or stay for the remainder of the meeting. We move next to consent agenda items for approval. The consent agenda allows the Board of Education to act on routine items of business as a series. Our first item on the consent agenda is 6.02, purchase orders. This is an informational item and is comprised of a monthly report that lists all purchase orders of $2,000 or more. For each item, the following are identified: the vendor, items purchased, destination of the items, budget account, dollar amount, and method of purchase. Board members, are there any comments or questions?
I have just a follow-up question that I had after our discussion in our work session regarding item 6.06, the Peachtree Ridge High School property lease for cellular phone tower. The follow-up question was the lease agreement that we signed with the cellular communication company includes a $50,000 a year lease payment. Where does that lease payment go? Who gets the money? Is it distributed? How is it distributed?
Thank you, Mr. Gasper. Thank you, Mr. Gasper, for that question. The answer is it really is determined in a conversation with Ms. Mallard, our CFO. It typically goes into the general fund, so it's just a revenue source for the good of the district.
Does the schools on the property benefit in any way from those funds? Do they have say in how the funds are distributed?
No, thank you for that question. The benefit to the school really is in enhanced safety. So we've got a dead spot in the cell coverage in that part of the county, so it's going to improve that tremendously.
So no direct funds are returned back to the school. They don't see any of the revenue at all. Okay.
Yeah, the current agreement brings that into the general fund, into the district funding. And that's similar to what we did at Archer High School, the other recent cell tower.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Can you also share about the addition and renovation for GSMST? What is that for?
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Treese. Thank you for that question. So the board may recall the 2020 referendum. We included a number of projects, including a auditorium addition at GSMST. It was always envisioned that we would have to create space on that site. It's a very constrained site, as you well know, Dr. Treese. So the phasing of that project, this is the awarding of that project that was outlined in the 2020 referendum. It's a phased project, so we begin by building out a fourth floor. The reason why we're building out the fourth floor of the GSMST building is it provides classrooms that replace classrooms we have to essentially demolish. The old part of the old Benefield Elementary School, that's being demolished to create a space for this new auditorium facility. We've done some additional design work so that it meets the auditorium requirement. It also creates a multi-purpose facility. It's a great location in the county. This will enable robotics teams from throughout the county to access a facility that caters to that need.
And with the benefit of Maxwell, I do also know that Maxwell is the neighbor school, so I wonder how that will work out.
Yes, that facility is there to serve GSMST, but it's really there for a resource to the entire county.
Any other questions or comments, board?
Thank you.
The action items on the consent agenda are 6.02, purchase orders, information only, 6.03, Harbins Elementary School, HVAC modifications, 6.04, Knight Elementary School, road improvements, 6.05, North Gwinnett High School, road improvements, 6.06, Peachtree Ridge High School, property lease for cellular phone tower, 6.07, Simpson Elementary School, HVAC modifications, 6.08, Gwinnett School of Mathematics, Science, and Technology, addition and renovations, 6.09, Oracle, 6.10, B-2610AM, instructional materials catalog discount, 6.11, B-242, 9BM projector retrofit and miscellaneous items. 6.12 B-2606 AM, musical instruments. 6.13 certificate of completion. 6.14 B-2608 AM, purchase and installation of S&P large equipment. 6.15 approval of minutes for first public hearing on redistricting held on November the 11th, 2025. Special call meeting held on November 12th, 2025, and board meeting held on November 20th, 2025. Do I have a motion regarding the action items on the consent agenda?
I make a motion that we approve items 6.03 to 6.15 on the consent agenda.
I have a motion by Mr. Knutson. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Stone. Is there any discussion? I do want to uplift consent agenda item 6.11, the purchase of projectors and audio equipment. That particular item demonstrated an increase of over 25% in the cost as a direct result of tariffs. As a direct result of tariffs. That extra over 25% increase equates to over $1 million. And so the reason I wanted to uplift this change in pricing and cost is in light of our House Bill 581 that we opted out of, because we are advocated for retaining local control. We're able to make sure we have sufficient funding to address these types of increases that are unexpected. So I just wanted to highlight that there are going to be, and we continue to see, increases in costs as a result of tariffs directly. And those costs could impact our students' education. It could take away from their the experience that they have. But because we were able to opt out of House Bill 581, we positioned ourselves well to be able to absorb these types of increases in cost as well as others. Is there any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. All opposed say no. It is unanimous. We move next to interim superintendent report. Dr. Taylor, I turn it over to you.
Board members, you have heard the monthly human resources report this afternoon in executive session that included a list of all employees being hired, taking a leave of absence, and terminating employment. Chair Dr. Simmons, I recommend approval of the monthly human resources report.
Do I have a motion regarding the monthly human resources report?
I make a motion to approve the monthly human resources report.
Thank you. I have a motion by Mr. Knutson. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Gasper. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. It is unanimous. Dr. Taylor?
Item 7.02 is the monthly financial report as of October 31st, 2025. The reports are from the financial records kept at the central office and do not include local school financial records that reflect receipts and disbursements at each school. It also includes a copy of our sales tax receipts for SPLOS 6. I recommend approval of the monthly financial report.
Team, do I have a motion regarding the monthly financial report?
I make a motion to approve the monthly financial report.
I have a motion by Dr. Therese. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is seconded by Ms. Stone. Is there any discussion?
I did want to make a note to Ms. Mallard and her team, doing a great job with our budget, with our revenue and expenses. I noticed this month that our reserve dipped due to the fact that the county, with its pushback of tax notifications and the collection of that, we were able to weather that, knowing that we had the amount of money that we did have in reserves, and so no emergency action necessary. But I just wanted to shout out give a shout out to our financial team for that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Oh,
I just wanted to shout out as well for the budget. Yeah, you want to share? I shared earlier.
Yes, I had this reserved for my closing remarks, but I also want to shout out Ms. Mallard and her team. They are a small yet mighty team. They came and spoke at our most recent policy committee meeting. We are working on amending our budget policy so that it is more transparent, and she and her team provided a wonderful overview of the budget, and I am very excited for the direction that we're heading. So thank you so much, Ms. Mallard.
any other discussion, team? All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. It is unanimous. Dr. Taylor, next item.
Item 7.03 on the agenda, 2022 through 2027 Building Program and Construction Report, is for your information only. This report is a listing of all construction projects funded by the 2022 through 2027 Building Program budget. It also provides the current status and scheduled completion date of each project. If any of you would like an update on a specific project, Interim Chief of Operations Patrick Burke can provide you with that information.
Board members, are there any questions? All right, Dr. Taylor, next item, please.
Item 7.04 is the redistricting recommendation for board approval for the 2026-27 school year. GCPS attendance boundaries must be adjusted to establish an attendance zone for Dr. Mary K. Murphy Middle School, opening in August 2026. This redistricting recommendation also aligns feeder patterns and balances student enrollment and classroom capacity within the immediate region. These recommended changes are the outcome of a comprehensive process that spanned several months and included multiple opportunities for feedback from our community. Proposed boundary changes were originally made public in September 2025, after which committees were formed at affected schools and a web tool was created for public input. 2 public hearings were held to receive feedback from the community on the proposed changes, the first on November 11th and the second earlier this evening. The final recommended changes to school attendance boundaries for the 2026-27 school year are being presented for your approval. I recommend approval of the redistricting recommendation for the 2026-27 school year.
Board, do I have a motion regarding the adoption of the final redistricting plan?
I make a motion that the Gwinnett County Board of Education approve the superintendent's final redistricting plan with the removal of Area 1.4, which includes neighborhoods that would have been redistricted from the Grayson cluster to the Archer cluster.
I have a motion by Ms. Stone. Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Dr. Therese. Is there any discussion?
Yes. Could someone from the staff bring up this motion, the map?
I'm going to ask Mr.
I'm sorry, can you specify which map you? Gotcha. Okay.
Just clarity
Sure.
for folks who may be watching online.
Ms. Stone, is that the map you're referring to? That section of it?
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't have the colored one. But yes, so could you explain the impacts of the motion that I've just made?
The impact would be, again, let me go to this table. I think this is probably the best view of it. If you look at the very bottom of this table, you see area 1.4 listed and the total number of students in elementary, middle, and high school within that area. That area is currently within this recommendation scheduled again to move from Tripp, Bay Creek, Grayson to Cooper, McConnell, and Archer. So the motion you've made, Ms. Stone, that will provide additional, it will provide additional capacity within the Archer cluster, and it will increase the numbers within the Grayson cluster that we're looking at in that column after the redistricting change. So you see those numbers as negative in the Grayson portion. That is the area we're discussing. So essentially those get added, that capacity grows at McConnell, Cooper, and Archer by that same amount. And those would then again go back to Tripp, Bay Creek, and Grayson High School to the amounts that are the October FT 25 number and over and under represented there on the table.
All right, thank you.
So I have a discussion point here related to the motion and also getting clarity for our constituents. They've spoken today. They've shared their perspectives, their experiences. This morning, today, also via email, and also last month. So we want to recognize their advocacy and also say that this really has been impacted, I think, by us engaging and listening to the voices of the community who's also shared and your feedback and allowed our system to go back and then figure out what can we do differently, and still knowing that there will be future changes. The truth of the matter is that will happen. We talked about that earlier. So there will be some future changes. Grayson is continuously growing. We know we have to address equity. So no matter what school you go to, whether you're in Grayson, whether you're in Archer, whether you're in Berkmar cluster, medical cluster, all our schools should be great. All of our parents should be able to have the same access as great schools, just like Grayson High School. We have work to do there. But this community is really connected to and tied to and invested in this Grayson area because it's such a great school. And I just also want to encourage us, our school system, to make sure that every school that our parents can send their children to, that they feel that connection, they feel that equity. And you all, your feedback made a difference. And this change also is part of making sure that, one, we have some lessons learned, and those lessons learned are how can we continuously engage our community. We know it's inevitable around change as we grow. How do we do this process better? And in truth and in transparency, tell you all, as the community grows, changes will happen and people will not be happy. Everyone will not be happy. But how do we do it in a way that alleviates the confusion, the stress, the impact, that makes people feel like they're not dismissed, but really engages your voices? And so I just wanted to support our board and our community and just let you all know that we're trying to build that trust and transparency, and I also appreciate our school district and really trying to figure this out. Really, I know it wasn't easy, and you stepped in kind of late and inherited this. And I just also appreciate you, Mr. Burke, for trying to make this work, and we understand you inherited this, and so we just appreciate the flexibility. Thank you.
And I would just like to add, for some other discussion, kind of echoing what Dr. Therese stated around, there were a lot of lessons learned and communication. Heard many phone calls, emails, listening sessions, informational sessions, around stakeholders, who had moved literally 3-4 months ago, and they found out about the plan a month later. And so I am excited that moving forward, one of the lessons that we learn is, I believe there is a 5-year communication plan so that we can maintain that collaboration and that communication in the future. And as my colleague mentioned, change is inevitable. We are going to keep growing, and speaking of growing, one of the things I would like to say is Alcova was in the current plan, or the original plan, was 339 students over capacity, and now we've been able to decrease that to 148 students. Grayson High School, Bay Creek Middle School, Tripp Elementary, Starling Elementary, I'm thankful for the 2023 capital plan in East Blos. There is a plan to add new additions there. And so I also want to add, this decision is about the Archer cluster. A new middle school was built. I'm actually wearing my Archer shirt this evening. And I just want to highlight that, I heard some concerns from the community around transportation, and the issue before us was one of choice. The Grayson cluster has a very strong DOI program, the French immersion program, and I heard from parents who stated that they moved to the Grayson cluster just months ago, and because they work 2, 3 out, sometimes 5 hours away, their student is not able to participate in the DOI program on permissive transfer. So this issue is one of choice, and I want to make very clear that it is one of choice, whereas the Archer cluster has the ACT STEAM program with chickens and composting and teaching students about addressing Georgia's food desert. So I am excited to move forward. We definitely need more time. We have a lot of data, and I feel that we need time to process this data, study the data, look at trends, push out the 5-year communication plan, look at the new additions that are a part of the 2031 capital plan. As I mentioned, Tripp Elementary, Bay Creek Middle School, Starling Elementary, and then Grayson High School. Hopefully construction can start sooner rather than later. Also tightening up residency and kinship affidavits. That issue came up as well, to ensure that our students who are actually attending our schools are zoned for the school. And last but not least, students, whether their parents rent or own their home, whether they are migrant students, homeless, foster, they deserve access and opportunity to an education. So thank you all so much for your feedback, your engagement. I really appreciate hearing from each and every one of you.
Thanks, Rachel, for your comments. Appreciate that, and want to be sensitive to you and your thoughts, especially all of this is taking place within your district. And am happy to be supportive of that for you. I know this is part of an ongoing, longer discussion that we're going to have. I would also say, though, just for context, that we had 2 major things that kind of converged at the same time. We had our SPLOST vote, which was taking place in November, and we had the redistricting that had to take place in order to create a boundary for Mary Kay Murphy Middle. So unfortunately, to Rachel's point, where she just outlined things that were approved in our 2031 capital plan, we couldn't move forward with complete certainty until after the SPLOST vote. So because of the SPLOST vote, there was a delay. But because of the SPLOST vote, we were able to move forward with certainty. So in some ways, we're still faced with a hard decision as we move forward. It'll affect more of the county and more of the clusters as we do that moving forward in light of our capital plan and what we have ahead of us. But at this point in time, happy to support Ms. Stone.
I too am delighted to support Ms. Stone in a decision around the clusters that are immediately within her district. I, in addition to what was already shared, want to double down on this feeling of it feeling like this decision was made too sudden. And so to that point, as Ms. Stone kind of alluded to earlier, I have asked that the district, and I believe Mr. Burke has already committed to sharing publicly a 5-year plan of redistricting efforts. And we are looking for that plan to be publicized perhaps as early as February. So that way communities can be put on notice that it is possible your cluster will experience redistricting. Now, that plan won't target specific neighborhoods because it's impossible for us to identify neighborhoods too far in advance. But I think that that is a fair way of trying to find middle ground with being transparent, as our community has expressed. So we heard you. Transparency is important. So we're working to be transparent as much as possible by providing that plan so that communities can be made aware that there may be some redistricting to take place over the next 5 years. So I'm happy to support the recommendation. I also just want to, as mentioned earlier, uplift that this is a difficult decision in part because we're weighing empathy against equity, in my opinion. So we empathize with the students that will have to shift with any redistricting. We empathize with the families that are undergoing change. We also, as a governance team, are responsible for safety and security, and that lends toward the equity, the decisions we have to make around equity and wanting our students to engage in learning inside of a schoolhouse so they can have access to restroom facilities, the lunchroom, so they can have access to all the technologies. So it's an equity versus an empathy decision. Tonight, I stand with the recommendation because I do feel that our process can be enhanced and we can provide more transparency up front. But again, because we do have to provide equity, I know that we're gonna be faced with some difficult decisions in the future. And so I stand with you today, and I look forward to our community continuing to provide us with input and feedback to help guide our decisions.
Yeah, I think Rachel has the toughest decision out of all of us in this room because this is her district, and I do support your decision. And you had to be out there on the ground floor with the troops per se, and the folks in your district. And I'm happy for them to come out tonight and in the past to have their voices heard. And I know this process is, we're not going to make 100% of everyone happy, and that's the toughest part of this job, is you want to make everyone happy, but you just know that we're not going to do that. And I feel that, we made put our best foot forward, and this, I think, is it, and I'm happy to support it. So great job.
Now don't y'all go nowhere, because we have a long way to go, and we have more communication that's coming up, and we really need the way y'all showed up like this. Really keep showing up like this, because we as a board, we need y'all to advocate for meeting the needs of all of our children in Gwinnett, not just in Grayson, but just in general, the needs that also benefit other districts and uplift our entire school system as a whole. So continue to show up like you did, and I encourage y'all to continue to engage in the future work, because we have a lot of things going on, in particular the process of a superintendent search, and we continue to encourage you all to be able to share your voices as well, and we need your support. So thank you all.
One last thing I want to just share in response to a comment earlier around impact fees, and that was a point of discussion in an earlier redistricting meeting, and we were able to, as a board, receive feedback that school systems in Georgia cannot leverage impact fees from builders. This is Georgia law. But my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that counties can leverage impact fees. So Gwinnett County can leverage an impact fee. And so if you would like to see your community benefit from impact fees, I would encourage you to reach out to your county commissioners. Though that body would be the body that can leverage impact fees from developers that could benefit our school systems. So I just wanted to make sure I shared that information. All right, all in favor say aye. 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 All opposed say no. It is unanimous. We appreciate you all. We move next to student discipline. By law, matters related to student discipline appeals, expulsions, and/or petitions for readmission must be discussed in executive or closed session. Georgia law further requires board members to affirm in the public business meeting the action taken in executive session. The first item of business under student discipline is the monthly tribunal summary. Board members, do I have a motion regarding the monthly tribunal summary as presented in executive session?
I make a motion to affirm the action taken in executive session regarding the monthly tribunal summary.
I have a motion by Mr. Gasper. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Knutson. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. It is unanimous. Board members, do I have a motion regarding student discipline appeals as presented in executive session?
I make a motion to affirm the action taken in executive session regarding student discipline appeals.
I have a motion by Ms. Stone. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is seconded by Mr. Knutson. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. It is unanimous. Dr. Taylor, old business is up next.
During the November work session, you heard the report regarding the 2026 Board Legislative Program. This list of priorities outlines the continuing policy positions and state funding improvement requests that the board wishes to bring to the Gwinnett delegation for consideration in the upcoming session of the General Assembly. Chair Dr. Simmons, I recommend the adoption of the 2026 legislative program.
Board members, you heard Dr. Taylor's recommendation. I need a motion for action.
I make a motion to adopt the 2026 legislative program as presented by Interim Superintendent Dr. Taylor.
I have a motion by Mr. Gasper. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is seconded by Dr. Therese. Is there any discussion? I appreciate all the hard work and the diligence put into putting together our legislative program. I look forward to our meeting with delegates coming up here within the coming weeks as we continue to work with them to put forth our priorities in an effort to secure additional funding that will benefit our students and their families. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. It is unanimous. Dr. Taylor?
As a reminder, at the November business meeting, the board approved the motion for policy JCDAF, use of electronic devices by students, to remain on the table to provide additional opportunity for constituent feedback. Revisions were made and the final version is being brought forward tonight for approval. I recommend that the above policy with revisions be adopted.
Board members, do I have a motion regarding the interim superintendent's recommendation? We have a additional handout that was provided, if that's helpful. Do I have a motion regarding the recommendation?
I think this is, wait, be 1 second.
I move to approve policy JCDAF with the following amendments made to remove bans from students in grades 9 to 12, removal of subsection 2D, removal of subsection 3C, and amendment to subsection 3C to remove provisions related to students in grades 9 to 12.
I have a motion by Dr. Therese. Is there a second? Okay. With there being no second, do we have any other motions?
I move to approve policy JCDAF with the following amendments made to remove bans for students in grades 9 through 12, removal of subsection 2D, removal of subsection 3B, language grades 9 through 12, removal of section 3C, an amendment in subsection 3C to remove provisions related to students in grades 9 through 12.
So can we need to verify the paragraph number, section 1C? This is,
So per our discussion earlier during our work session, the direction was to, the request made was to remove section 2D as well as 3B as in boy, and to amend section 3C. I believe that is what the motion you just made, Ms. Stone. Do I have a second?
I'm double checking. I'm going to restate I moved. Oh, okay.
Ms. Stone, can you please restate the motion for consideration?
Yes. I move to approve policy JCDAF with the following amendments made to remove bans for students in grades 9 through 12, removal of subsection 2D, removal of subsection 3B, and amendment to subsection 3C to remove provisions related to students in grades 9 through 12.
Thank you, Ms. Stone, for restating the motion. Do I have a second? The motion is seconded by Dr. Therese. Is there any discussion?
Yes. I want to explain what just happened. Like, literally in the work session, we had a discussion around our, this particular policy. Now, by law, Georgia State basically said that we had to ban cell phones for K through 8th grade. We were not required to ban cell phones for high schoolers. So we, in compliance with the law, if you all see some of our work sessions, we kind of explain some of the reasons why we make changes to the policy. One of the reasons why we make changes to our policy is to comply with legal mandates from Georgia State. And so this was a policy that we created to be in compliance with that. And so the discussion today was around, do we include our high school students when right now we are not required to do that? So we had a robust discussion. We had some concerns around the variance in terms of how people will be using this particular technology, how it may shift from school to school. We have to still continue to discuss our own processes internally and figure out how we could ensure some different types of flexibilities for high school students, because we know many of our high school students work, many of them leave school early, they have different sort of responsibilities, and there's some different nuances that we have to consider. And so we decided to remove some sections from the policy. So what you all just saw was sort of this us changing the policy so that we can vote on what we need to vote on to comply with the law, however, not the other information that's not required. So that's what happened, and that's it. Thanks.
I want to add a comment here. I think from our community, I didn't read any emails or get any phone calls with pushback on the 9 to 12 policy. In fact, at least one of those emails said it wasn't strong enough. So while we do have to pass a policy, and I'm sure a policy will be passed this evening for our K through 8 cell phone policy, I'm not supporting this version of it because I do think we should have just gone ahead and put the 9 to 12 in. I thought it was clear and was able to support that.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I have 2 high school kids, and I didn't see any pushback from parents. In fact, I saw parents wanting more stringent cell phone policies in the high school setting, and I know our state legislature is looking into that this year. I don't know if next year during the next legislative session. I don't know if much is going to come out of it, but I know you all saw Australia just enacted a social media ban for kids under 16 years old. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. But then again, I can't. I like the idea of cell phones be put away during instructional period. I know the language is a little vague, for some of my fellow board members, but I still think there needs to be a policy that supports cell phone restrictions for the high school students. So I can't support the policy the way it's written right now, and I think there still needs to be restrictions in place for our high school students.
I would like to say that in reading some of the feedback from the community via email, some parents, families express concerns around, in the event of emergency, when or is there a plan for the parents to be able to communicate with their student, their child, and the district is working on a plan for over the next 6 months. So look forward to learning more about that plan.
I do support having a policy in place that will also focus on grades 9 through 12. I also support the board receiving feedback from the community. I just want to be transparent in that the board was not provided with the feedback that was possibly emailed for consideration, and we had that discussion during the work session. So in the absence of being provided that voice from stakeholders that took the time to email us, I am supporting holding off on implementation of 9 through 12, but I do expect that we will be able to move expediently on it in the near future, and would like to ensure that the board receives the feedback that was submitted by the community.
And I also want to encourage, I support also the feedback, and from our school system really understanding how we're going to execute on ensuring that there isn't variance on how this policy is implemented from school to school. Because when you look at section 5 in this policy, it's directly related to our policy JCD, which is Student Code of Conduct and Behavioral Code. And if it's not equitably executed at the same from school to school, then I think that could be some issues around discipline, infractions that can create unintended consequences that can include a disproportionate impact to certain groups of students who may need cell phones for various reasons. And so I do think that in order for us to move forward with this, we should understand how it's going to impact, because there could be some unintended consequences that could have a desperate impact on certain groups.
Dr. Taylor, when can we expect for the 9 through 12, perhaps to have that discussion around how we might modify this, or when can we expect to receive the feedback that was submitted by the community so the board can consider it in thinking about how we might update the policy?
I think we can probably get the feedback to you quicker, thinking through when there be an opportunity for a discussion. I think probably the most logical time, take a look at what we have scheduled for the January briefings. might be a good opportunity. I don't think there's a governance team training coming up anytime soon, so, and we don't want to pack anything else into the work session. So I'm thinking that's probably going to be the best opportunity.
Okay, thank you for that clarification and update. So we had a motion by Ms. Stone. It was seconded by Dr. Therese. Any other discussion, team? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no.
No.
So we have 3 in favor and 2 opposed, so the motion passes.
Ready? Next one.
All right, Dr. Taylor, you're up next.
As a reminder, at the November business meeting, the board approved the motion for policy IDDG, multilingual learners, to remain on the table to provide additional opportunity for constituent feedback. Revisions were made and the final version is being brought forward tonight for approval. I recommend that the above policy with revisions be adopted.
Board members, do I have a motion regarding the interim superintendent's recommendation?
I make a motion to approve the proposed revisions to policy IDDG, multilingual learners.
I have a motion by Dr. Therese. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is seconded by Ms. Stone. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I am so proud, so excited for this moment. This is the first policy passed and pushed out by the newly formed policy committee. We've been working on this policy since August, and it is going to do some really great things for our multilingual learners. Today we heard from district staff on AXFAC, and we discussed how it really aligned with the policy in supporting our multilingual learners and also our multi-exceptional students, so students who might be multilingual and twice exceptional, so they may be a ML but also gifted or receiving special education services. So we're very excited about this process, and I just want to shout out the policy committee for their hard work. It does not go unnoticed.
Also want to share, as chair of the policy committee, my gratitude for our policy committee members, our board members as well, the vice chairs of the policy committee, Ms. Stone, and also our district staff. You all have really worked diligently with our policy expert, Mr. Ben Cleven, who really helped to support this process. And it has been hard work. And the hard work was really us engaging with our school system. We even went on a tour of the INC building to understand more about how we are engaging our multilingual population and our newcomers who are here in the U.S. and trying to create a better path for themselves and their families. And it was just an amazing experience for our policy committee members to really have this hands-on, real-world connection to the work. And this is what it is to develop policy. We must move beyond just words on a paper, but really what does it mean, and internalizing the meaning of when we write a policy, how it directly impacts our students. And so what the policy committee had the opportunity to do was go to the facility and really see and engage with our policy experts, engage with Mr. Valentine and Lynette Aponte, and just really talk to them and understand the impact of our policies. The expat community teams also presented today at our working session, and the key about the findings and the recommendations is that they recommended we have a policy. Well, we already have a policy, but not just that. They provided us with feedback on the policy. So we do have specific feedback from our expat, and we also have some opportunities to improve it. So we are going to be making some amendments to it because of some additional feedback we received. So this is also an example of the work of policy. Just because we vote and pass this policy today, it doesn't mean that it stops. It means that we continue to look at ways on how we can improve the execution of our policies, and again, understanding the budget impacts to our policy, and also making sure that there is real change. And it's not just about words on a paper, but it's about delivering student achievement. It's about making sure that our teachers, ESPs, have what they need to be able to successfully implement this policy. So we do have data and metrics in the policy that can help us ensure that we're delivering. And I know, Dr. Simmons, you mentioned earlier today, return on investment. This is part of the process that we want to ensure that when we make policy, that we can go back to it and see how it's doing and evaluate the impact of the policy. That's so very important. So I'm very honored and pleased, and thank you to our board for the support. And we've been, since I've been on this board, we've been fighting for MLL, Dr. Simmons, and I know you have too, for many years now. And so here we are. So thank you to our chair, Dr. Simmons, for the work and leadership that you've been able to provide to us as a policy committee. And even when it was difficult and the challenges, you really helped us work through a lot of things. So I appreciate your leadership in this process as well, and beyond the policy committee, but before, and all of the advocacy you've done over the years. So thank you.
I think that Ms. Stone and Dr. Therese know that I appreciate their leadership, as I've been singing their praises since we launched the policy committee. So thank you again for your leadership. I appreciate our inaugural policy committee and their dedication, the leadership by Ben Cleven. But most importantly, I'm excited about the impact this will have on our students and our student achievement. This is a monumental win for our students. I see this as a monumental moment for them, and it's because of your leadership and rallying the policy committee to really put some thought into how we can better serve our multilingual learner population. With that, is there any other discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. It is unanimous. Dr. Taylor?
For the 2026 calendar year, the GCPS board is changing the structure of their board work session and business meetings. Beginning in January 2026, the board will hold its work sessions on a different date and time from its business meeting. The rationale for this decision is to promote greater community engagement and accessibility. Moving the work session to 6 p.m. on the Tuesday before the board meeting, while holding the business meeting on the third Thursday of each month with noted exceptions, will accomplish this goal. I recommend the approval of the 2026 school board meeting calendar with the new separated meeting cadence.
Board members, do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the calendar with the exception of the January meeting being held on the original date that we had scheduled, which is the third week in January. This is referring to our calendar.
Where can we see the dates? Where are the dates available in our package?
13th and 15th.
That's what's currently proposed, or? Okay, so the proposal was the 20th and 22nd, and Dr. Therese is asking that for January, the dates be January 13th and 15th.
Yeah, that it go back to the original scheduled date. So our board meetings happen every third Thursday of the month. And so I'm asking for that to be maintained for every third Thursday of the month.
I have a motion by Dr. Therese. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is seconded by Ms. Stone. Is there any discussion?
I would, yeah, go ahead.
So the requested motion needs to be based off the calendar that was handed to us. So I don't think it's appropriate to change. I think the motion has to be made and the discussion has to be had based off of what was given to us. So the calendar that I'm looking at shows January 20th and January 22nd. And I think it's appropriate for Robert's rules that we make the motion based off the approved calendar and then have discussion because If we revert back, then I can't make the meeting. So I think it's not fair that, so I think then I'll be out of the meeting. So I think let's make the motion, have discussion, because I know there's going to be exceptions throughout the year that certain board members can't make certain meetings, and I think to allow for fair discussion, these are the proposed dates.
No, our meetings are always the third Thursday of the month. and
Just
that
for
is our
the, just for the
standard
parliamentary, if I could interrupt, just for the parliamentary matter, I don't think there's any prohibition under Robert's rules for a motion to be made. The motion can be voted on, doesn't have to stick to exactly what was shown. They can make it a motion to amend that. If the motion carries, it carries. If it fails, then, and certainly should be discussion after the second for that, but there would be no prohibition, just for clarity.
Thank you. That was my understanding. She made a motion with an amendment, and so now is the time for that discussion. So, Mr. Gasper, was there something you wanted to uplift here in the discussion?
Other than, that amended motion conflicts with my schedule. That's all it does. Which I would be unable to make that meeting week in January. That's all.
That's the meeting that we already originally had on our original schedule. So you weren't going to be able to make it either way, even though we have our third Thursdays of the month? For clarity.
Thursday I can make, Tuesday I can't, yep.
Oh, this is for Thursday?
Yep.
Okay.
I have a question first before you do that. Why are we shifting the September meeting? Because that's from the third Thursday to the fourth. I don't necessarily have, but I can't remember why. I was just. I know George can answer my question.
Thank you, board members. Let me try to provide some. Third Tuesday of every month as our work session, and our third Thursday of every month as our business meeting. There are sometimes reasons why we have to make exceptions. So if you start with September, we've made an exception in September, and instead of having the third Tuesday, we've asked for the third Wednesday, and the fourth Wednesday and the fourth Thursday due to the CASBA conference held in September. So that was the first exception that we made.
Okay, so that's the advocacy conference in
Correct.
DC. Okay.
Correct. So then, the original request was to have them the work session January 13th, business meeting January 15th. Staff made a request due to the fact that we're off the next 14 days, coming back in January. We would have to submit everything and get everything ready by January 8th to meet our legal requirements. We needed the time and space to be able to do a good, effective job, so we requested, and we sent out an email to the board asking to consider changing that 1 week further. Board came back with the feedback saying that everybody agreed except for one board member that had a conflict, and that's what we're talking about now. Specifically in January, the change was from the 13th, 15th to the 22nd. Mr. Gasper, you just submitted a request saying you were not available that week. Another board member submitted an additional request saying she would not be available the proposed week. So we have, no matter which way we go, we'll have at least one board member not being able to participate due to prior commitments. In February, the original request was to have the work session on Tuesday the 17th, and another board member submitted a request to change that to Wednesday the 18th, right? Because they were unable to be here Tuesday the 17th. So those are all the changes that have been requested. The 2 Januaries, the 1 February, and the 1 in September because of CASBA. But generally, everything else has been held to the Tuesday and Thursday in the third week of the month.
Mr. Casper, can you clarify, will you not be available on the 20th, the 20th or the 22nd, or you just wouldn't be available on the 20th? I'm sorry, would you not be available on both the 13th and the 15th, or just the 13th? Both dates, okay, thank you. Okay, so we have a motion with an amendment to have the January meeting take place on January 13th and 15th. The motion was seconded by Ms. Stone. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. It is unanimous. Dr. Taylor, new business is up next.
Can I ask one quick question? Did we determine which of those two, the 17th or 18th of February, did you include that in your amended acceptance, or is that still uncertain?
So her motion was to approve it with the change to the January date. So can the district confirm what the dates are for February that we just approved?
It says on here February 17th or 18th, so I'm flexible. Yeah, this is
So
what we approved.
Again, for February, the original request was the 17th. A request came in to consider the 18th. So we're presenting to you, the board, whether you want to continue with the 17th Tuesday, which was the original request, or amend that to the 18th Wednesday.
Okay, I thought that you all had already identified a date. It sounds like our board needs to see the dates. Maybe did not have a chance to look at the dates before this moment. Would it be helpful to take a moment to look at those dates further?
I think there was a request for the 18th, which I support that request for the 18th to change it.
Okay.
So I made the motion because I see it here as or, so I figured that was.
So you're okay with the 18th?
I am.
Mr. Gasper, that works for you, Mr. Knudsen, and then Ms. Stone? Either way. She's checking, okay. Okay, so the vote stands. Thank you.
I have a question also, Dr. Taylor, in terms of supporting the needs of the staff for the January meeting. Can you all, now that you have the date available, start kind of processing it so that there is not such of a burden? Can you all go ahead and?
We'll get what we can done before, and some of the presentation stuff we obviously wouldn't be able to, probably wouldn't have, some of that completed, but we'll make it work.
Okay. And the other thing is, want to make a comment about now our board meetings, our work sessions are in the evening, and our board meetings maintain to be at this schedule. This also gives our students an opportunity and our teachers an opportunity to attend in person our work sessions, and the board meetings. Of course, that has been changed, but it's just another opportunity for our community members who maybe work in full time. Now they have the opportunity to be able to participate in our work sessions and really see how we work as a board and engage in conversations and how we learn as we have to continuously work and engage with staff and with one another to make the best decisions we can to meet the needs of all children.
And just to add to the rationale was provided that we want to promote greater community engagement and accessibility, which is true, but I'd also like to uplift another key determinant for me in supporting this change is as I think about future board members and who may want to sit in this seat one day. Not all board members or potential board members have the ability to come to a meeting each month that starts at 2 p.m. I'm thinking about the working people, right? So I really wanted to support opportunity access for future board members, even current board members. If you have a job that will not, 9 to 5, that will not let you leave at 2 o'clock every month, I still support you having the option to serve on this board one day, and this decision supports that thinking.
And I don't know if people realize that we have a stipend, but we don't, this is not a full-time paid job. However, it is full-time work. And so just to be clear about that, this also, to Dr. Simmons's point, supports people who have to work and who don't have the privilege to be able to take off of work. And we find that many educators, it's hard for them to leave the classroom to come to work sessions. And if we have an educator on the board who may want to serve, then we want to make sure we also are accommodating and attractive to people who need to work, and in particular to people who may work in fields like teaching in the classroom that may not have the same flexibility. And so we're hopeful that this facilitates that as well.
All right, Dr. Taylor, new business.
Board members, changes have been made in accordance with policy guidance and/or mandates in state and/or federal law for policy BAAB, academic accountability. In our work session this afternoon, the proposed draft was reviewed and discussed. Chair Dr. Simmons, I recommend that this policy with revisions be placed on the table until the January 2026 business meeting to provide constituents an opportunity for feedback.
Board members, do I have a motion regarding the interim superintendent's recommendation?
I make a motion to have policy BAAB, academic accountability, lay on the table for 30 days or for our next scheduled board meeting pending feedback. If revisions are needed following posting on our website, they will be presented for board consideration during the business meeting in January 2026.
I have a motion by Dr. Therese. Is there a second?
Second.
The motion is seconded by Ms. Stone. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
The only discussion I have here is our school system has already been doing quite a bit of work around this policy, and it's really, one, we're codifying some of the work that's already existing in our school system, and I'm really excited about being able to have that alignment. Also, we encourage you all to provide feedback on all of our policies. Whenever we have a policy on the table for 30 days, please review our policies, provide us with feedback, send us an email. That information is collected and provided to the board, and it could help us in our process around revising our policies. So when we talk about engagement, this is another mechanism for community members to really have a voice in policy making. So I just encourage you all to please continue to engage with us, and all the Grayson folk here, y'all help us with policies too, right? So thank you.
All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. It is unanimous. Next, we will have constituents' comments regarding policy and/or school operations. Shannon Hernandez, please approach the podium closest to you. Jeremy Cavallero, you are on deck at the other podium. Okay, we will start with Jeremy Cavallero. And next up will be Elizabeth Cavallero.
All right, good evening. I'd like to start by wishing everyone a Merry Christmas and a safe, prosperous, Happy New Year. We stand at a pivotal moment for GCPS. We've seen the blueprint for the future take shape through the Evolved Weapons Detection System, rolling out as a standard in all of our high schools and soon all of our middle schools. But as we stand here in the last few weeks of 2025, we have one glaring gap, and that's our elementary schools. We often say that our youngest learners are our most vulnerable, yet they're currently the least protected by our most advanced safety technology. It's time to close that gap and bring weapons detectors to all elementary schools in the county. GCPS is built on 4 strategic pillars, and this initiative is the ultimate expression of those values. Empathy. We can't ask a child to focus on literacy or math if they're walking into a building feeling afraid. True empathy means understanding the anxiety a parent feels at drop-off. It means ensuring that safe and welcoming schools isn't just a focus on a website or solidified in our middle schools and high schools, but a true felt reality for every 5-year-old too. Equity. Right now we have a tiered system of safety. A student at Petrie Ridge High School is protected by weapons detectors, while their younger sibling at a nearby elementary school is not. Equity means that safety shouldn't be determined by what grade you're in. Effectiveness. We've seen the data. Evolved system is effective because it is non-intrusive. It doesn't create a prison-like atmosphere. It allows children to keep their backpacks on and their dignity intact while keeping weapons out. Expanding this is simply the most effective way to modernize our security layer. And finally, excellence. GCPS is a national leader. To maintain a culture of excellence, We must continue to be proactive and not reactive. We shouldn't wait for a tragedy in an elementary school to justify the same technology we already trust everywhere. And I recognize the cost. $26 million already invested is significant. Tonight, I've seen several proposed items since the passing of East Blast with significant price tags, none of which mention Evolve expanding to elementary schools. The GCPS blueprint reminds us that our resources must match our portrait of a graduate. We want our graduates to be adaptable and resourceful, but first, we must ensure that they reach graduation. By placing weapons detectors and SROs in our elementary school, we are being empathetic, equitable, effective, and excellent. We're telling our teachers they're protected, we're telling our children that we love them, and their safety is our highest priority. Let's fulfill the promise of the blueprint. Let's bring this technology to our elementary schools now. Thank you.
Elizabeth, you're up next, followed by John Rugisker.
Good evening, members of the board. Our family stands before you again tonight to end exactly where we started 15 months ago. We are here to implore this board to join us in the fight to keep our children safe, to ensure that every child who walks into a classroom in the morning returns home to their parents at night. We are formally petitioning for newly passed East Blast funds to be used for critical life-saving purpose, extending weapon detectors in every single elementary school in Gwinnett County. The reality of gun access, we simply cannot rely on the hope that every parent will make the right decision regarding firearm security. The reality is far grimmer. Right now, in the defense of Colin Gray, the father of the Appalachia shooter, his legal team is citing Georgia law, which does not mandate that guns be locked away in a specific manner. If the law does not require it, and parents continue to fail us, we must accept the hard truth. Negligence is widespread. We cannot wait for parents to stop their children from bringing weapons to school. We must act as the final line of defense. We must lock down every campus. Our schools cannot continue to be soft targets. We have to secure the perimeter. Beyond technology, we must address human protocol. Currently, we see a culture where teachers and staff have unrestricted access to exterior doors throughout the school day. While convenient, this is inherently dangerous. History has taught us the cost of unsecured doors. At Robb Elementary, a killer entered through an exterior door that failed to lock as designed. At Brown University, a shooter entered through a door intentionally left unlocked for convenience. At Wilmer Hutchins High School, a student gained access simply because another student held a door open. Our request for action is this: every second a door is left propped or unlocked is a second our children are at risk. We are asking for a strict policy change. Exterior doors must be used for emergency exits only and must be fully alarmed. Convenience can no longer take priority over security. 15 months ago, we asked for protection. Today, with the East Blast funds available, you have the resources to provide it. Let's turn our elementary schools from vulnerable buildings into safe havens. Thank you.
Next up, we'll hear from John Rugisker, followed by Socorro Lai.
Good evening. Good evening, Dr. Taylor, members of the board. I'm here to advocate and bring attention to the pay discrepancies between teachers and CTAE teachers. I want to thank the board for allowing me to speak without repercussion. I would encourage other teachers to do so. I've never had someone question me or stop me from speaking what I think needs to be heard, and I truly appreciate that. I think it's also important to note that this board has championed all the good things within CTAE programs. Many of you have highlighted or run on making CTAE a priority. Well, now is your chance. Having made the opening statement, you might say to yourself, wait, all teachers are paid the same based upon experience on our GPS salary scale. That is true except for CTAE teachers. When you get hired as a CTAE teacher, such as myself, you start at the bottom pay scale. The most credit that state law allows for is for 3 years of experience. Contrast that with an English teacher that comes from Florida with 20 years of experience that gets credit for 20 years of experience on the pay scale. I'm not here to argue for more credit than 3 years. That is another discussion. What I'm here to bring to the board's attention is the fact that not all CTA hires are getting credit for their 3 years, and things need to change. When you're hired, it's not made clear as part of your incoming compensation package that you are eligible for experience. I've been through this, and speaking through this experience, it is not. I was made aware of it because fellow employees told me to ask about it. This needs to be an ironclad part of the orientation process. The process that you go through is much tougher than a regular teacher. It's quite arduous. This needs to change. The compensation department will fight you and disagree with you over and over. I've been through that process. I've been involved in logistics in various forms since 1995. Currently, GPS recognizes only 2 years of my experience. I have not received my full credit. The state law gives you credit for your years of experience, also notes, and I quote, employees may contest the evaluation, verification, and award of experience under the provisions of OCGA 20-2-1160. I was never given this opportunity nor aware of it until I did some more research. For the years that I have been teaching here at GCPS, I have been losing money every year that is rightly fully mine. Is GCPS following state law? I am not alone. There are 2 more CTA healthcare teachers at my school that are even worse shape than myself. They have a combined 42 years of experience, one with 30 and one with 12, and have been given 0 years of credit. I repeat, 0 years of credit. This is just not at my school. This is only just not at my school, and this needs to change. The evaluation process needs to change. Thank you.
Next up, Carol Lai, followed by Jen Choi.
Good evening, board members and Interim Superintendent Taylor. I am a parent, an advocate, a taxpayer, and vice chair of a local school council. I am here today because what is happening in Gwinnett County Public Schools is no longer isolated, deniable, or defensible. When families raise credible concerns about violations of federal and state law, the district's obligation is simple: protect children, correct failures, and tell the truth. What parents are experiencing instead is a pattern of retaliation, misrepresentation, and institutional self-protection. This is not about one school. This is not about one administrator. This is about a system that responds to accountability by circling the wagons. In my family's case, false statements were made about who filed a bad faith and retaliatory defects report and about a student's academic record. Those statements were later contradicted by sworn testimony and official documentation. This is not confusion. This is a credibility collapse. And this is not just my family. Just this week, a parent publicly reported that her 8-year-old autistic child was hit by a teacher and that the incident was minimized and closed without accountability. Other parents immediately reported the same pattern across different schools, same response. When families tell the same story repeatedly, it stops being isolated. It becomes systemic. Attorneys working with Gwinnett County families have cautioned parents that DFAC's involvement has followed advocacy for student rights. Parents report that when they push for answers, the pressure escalates instead of protections being put in place. What families experience is not accountability. It is delay instead of action, deflection instead of answers, and gaslighting instead of truth. That is not a misunderstanding, it is a failure of duty. Delay, deflection, and gaslighting are not governance. They are choices, and choosing them over duty is how systems fail children. Under IDEA in Section 504, parents are guaranteed meaningful participation. That right is violated when truth is flexible and accountability is optional. Let me be clear, a district that prioritizes liability management over child safety has lost the moral authority to call itself student-centered. And while there is discussion about future leadership, oversight does not pause during a superintendent transition. This board's responsibility exists now. Waiting is not a remedy. Children do not have the luxury of delay. The board may not manage day-to-day operations, but you are responsible for oversight. Oversight means asking uncomfortable questions. It means demanding independent investigations. It means acting when credible concerns and documentation show systemic failure. Silence in the face of credible harm is not neutrality, it is complicity.
Next up, Jen Choi,
Good evening.
followed by Hassan Aziz.
Dear board members, I'm the father of 10th grade son who transferred from Lambert High School to North Gwinnett High School. Because his cousins attended North Gwinnett High School, we had always known it to be an excellent school. Due to personal circumstances, my son was unable to transfer when entering 9th grade, and instead transferred when he became 10th grader. At the time, we had no idea this decision would place him at a disadvantage. During Forsyth County spring break, we scheduled a counseling appointment at North Gwinnett High School. At that meeting, we were informed that academic ranking system is score-based, and we were also told that there were currently no 10th grade students enrolled in dual enrollment courses, and therefore it was not recommended. However, during our consultation with the counselor, we were not informed that because my son transferring from different county, he would not receive the additional 10 points awarded for AP courses he took before. Had we been aware of this fact, we would not have proceeded with the transfer. My son took 3 AP courses in 9th grade, and as a result of this policy, he is now unfairly penalized with a 30-point disadvantage. Despite always doing his best academically, he ranked 13th out of 819 students at Lambert High School. Now he faces the possibility of falling outside the top 100 due solely to this policy. Upon learning this, my son became deeply discouraged. As his parent, if I'm unable to help resolve this situation, I'll feel overwhelmingly guilty. What I fear most is that he may become so disappointed that he gives up altogether. From a young age, my son sets his dream school and his future career goals, has worked tirelessly with the focus and determination. I do not want him to be placed in an unjust situation through no fault of his own. I believe that fundamental principle of laws and rules is that even if 10 wrongdoers are not stopped, not a single innocent person should be wronged. This disadvantage imposed solely because a student transfers from another county should not continue to occur. I respectfully ask that you revise this unfair policy so that my son may regain peace of mind and continue to do his best in his school life. I'm not here to blame anyone or to assign fault. As a parent who supports and believes in my child's dreams more than anyone else, I'm simply asking the students who transfer to seek a better educational environment are not treated unfairly and discouraged despite their hard work. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Next up, we'll hear from Hassan Aziz, followed by Kent Julian.
Good evening, everyone. There are good things and bad things. I've been here 2.5 years ago when my children were assaulted in this district premises. Sometimes I wonder how you would deal yourselves who have children when your children would be assaulted in the district. The chief of police and the police officer were used to falsify the police reports. That's a violation of the federal laws, oath of office, state, local laws, and should be district policies. Nothing has happened so far. 2.5 years ago, I wrote a letter to the executive director of academic support. I wrote an impromptu letter based on a trespass warning letter to me because I complained about the inability of the principal of Norcross Elementary School to inform the new students and the new parents and the families of the school rules and the procedures, not the district. And so she gave me a trespass warning. And so I wrote an impromptu letter to the Executive Director of Academic Support. And with the virtue of your Chief of Staff, this letter was suppressed for 2.5 years. During my conversation with the interim superintendent, the issue came back up again, and the letter resurfaced after 2.5 years. The executive director called me and said they have relocated the letter and he's going to give me a reply. I'm still awaiting a reply. 2 days ago, the Norcross Cluster Superintendent and the executive director in a conference call called me, and when I asked about it, they said they were conferring with lawyers, and we pay, my tax dollars go to pay that lawyer to work against me. Unconscionable. I don't know where you guys come from, but I have a different opinion where you guys come from. And it starts with your chief of staff. And I have a list of items. He should be terminated immediately. He did not have any authorization to block me off from not only the district, but also the board members.
Thank you. Kent Julian. You'll be followed by Ann LaFavore.
Good evening. Good evening, board members. My name is Kent Julian. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you regarding the superintendent search. I have no idea if you are currently looking at Dr. Al Taylor for this position, and I have no idea if Dr. Al Taylor is applying for this position. Additionally, I do not know Dr. Taylor personally and never had the privilege of speaking with him personally, so it sounds like I don't know much. However, I do know this. Every time I talk with people about the superintendent search, the name Al Taylor comes up, and the consensus is we already have the person in place to do the job. Not only is Dr. Taylor talented and gifted, not only does he have the experience, but he's also a person of integrity and character, a leader who is both confident and humble, and that is uncommon in leaders. And he is someone who wants the best for the staff, students, and parents of Gwinnett County Public Schools. That's basically what I hear. These comments have been shared with me by teachers, parents, business leaders, and elected officials. And although I haven't spoken with any principals or administrators, I have heard from reliable sources that they view Dr. Taylor in the same way. So the bottom line is Dr. Taylor has a proven track record within Gwinnett County Public Schools at all levels. He was a teacher, assistant principal, assistant superintendent, and now he's the interim superintendent. No outside candidate can understand the challenges and the opportunities ahead for Gwinnett County Public Schools better than Dr. Taylor. Additionally, it's interesting that Gwinnett County Public Schools offers the Leadership Pipeline program to develop principals and leaders, yet when it comes to our superintendent search, we kind of disregard this model and look outside instead of within. And I would argue that approach is both flawed and unwise. So in closing, I hope that you, as board members, will seriously consider Dr. Taylor for the superintendent position. He's been with Gwinnett County Public Schools for 23 years, so he knows the schools and the community, but even more importantly, we know him. As I mentioned, I don't know him personally. However, when so many educators, parents, and leaders within Gwinnett speak so highly of him, I know I should listen, and I hope you as board members are listening too. Thank you very much.
And LaFavore, you're up next, followed by Misty Head.
Good evening, board chair, members of the board, and interim superintendent. I am Ann LaFavore with the family Gwinnett. I just emailed each board member the memorandum of understanding that I am referencing along with my contact information. I am here tonight out of deep concern for our most vulnerable children in Gwinnett. Over the last 10 years, the Gwinnett Chamber of Commerce has reportedly received approximately $1,705,000 in public funds yearly. Yet during this same period, we continue to see special needs students, financially challenged students, and students experiencing housing and food insecurities go without aggregate programs and support that would help them thrive. Our children with disabilities are not constantly receiving services that fully protect their civil rights. Our students whose parents are working tirelessly just to keep a roof over their heads are still coming to school hungry. And our most at-risk students are being left behind while public funds are directed elsewhere. My concern is this: how can we justify continued funding without clear accountability while essential students' needs remain unmet? I am also deeply concerned about oversight and authorization. Who approved these funds, what outcomes are required, and how was success measured? And why has there been no transparent reporting to ensure these dollars directly benefit students? This is not about attacking any organization. This is about fiduciary responsibility, equity, and student-centered decision-making. When administrative decisions allow funding to continue without accountability, while vulnerable students lack access to critical services, that represents a failure of governance and oversight. Therefore, I am formally requesting that the board authorize an official investigation into the allegations, oversight, and impact of these funds, including authorization authority, compliance with intended use, accountability measures, and whether these expenditures align with the education and civil needs of Gwinnett students. Our children deserve better. Our families deserve transparency, and this board has a responsibility to ensure that every public dollar serves students first. Thank you for your time and your service.
Next up, we'll hear from Misty Head, followed by King Lai.
Good evening, Dr. Simmons, Dr. Taylor, and board members. First, I would like to take the opportunity to thank the district for already beginning to move towards increasing teacher autonomy as a path to increasing student achievement, as I have begun hearing positive, impactful stories from teachers and administrators across the district. Tonight, I am bringing you a poem regarding this topic, which impacts teacher retention and student needs being met. I also wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, and a festive Yule to one and all. I present to you, Let Us Teach. In a room of busy pencils where the chatter starts to rise, you'll find a teacher balancing a world behind their eyes. We're juggling needs and stories, we're reading every face, and autonomy is how we keep the magic in this place. Scripted lines and boxed-in lessons claim they'll fix what kids don't know, but children aren't assembly lines, they bloom in how we help them grow. A script can be a safety net, a guidepost on the way, but don't forget the teacher's art to bend, to shape, to sway. Because learning isn't linear and discipline's not one size. We steer storms with gentle firmness, we use heart as our surprise. When a meltdown hits at reading or emotions spill at math, no pacing guide can tell us how to reroute that fragile path. We need freedom in the moment to adapt, revise, create, to shift tomorrow's lesson based on what students generate. We need space to trust our instincts, to adjust when tensions climb, to teach phonics with some rhythm and resolve conflict with time. Give us room to use our voices, room to innovate and try, for the best instruction happens where professional and heart unify. So yes, support is welcome, but let teachers lead the way, because autonomy is not rebellion, it's how we help kids find their way. And when teachers can be artists, not performers hitting marks, our classrooms turn electric with 100 hopeful sparks.
Next up, King Lai, followed by Chelsea Hutchings.
Good evening, Board. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I would like to speak to y'all today about the cell tower that is being proposed, or I guess now passed, at Peachtree Ridge and Parsons Elementary School. I found this out only 2 days ago. I'm a very involved parent. I've been part of the PTA, the school councils, and the community for a very long time. And we are very concerned as a group of families with this cell tower being erected with parents not even knowing. Up till 2 days ago, we did not have any information that this was happening. A parent at my local PTA happened to go through the agenda for today and said, this is coming. Did we know this? None of us did. We were not given the opportunity to voice any of our opinions. We were not given the opportunity of even seeing, okay, what were the data that was collected? We as a community would like that input. I've been to every single FAC meeting, the Family Advisory Council meeting, and GCPS advocates transparency and all that, but this is a prime example of sweeping things under the rug where we did not know as families that this was happening. There are numerous schools in other districts that banned cell towers. I'm not here to debate the health issues, the non-health issues, just the fact that we would like to know as parents of the people that are impacted. These are our kids going to the school. Would you send your kids there? That's a different question. I have had other parents say, well, maybe there's no risk. Well, maybe there is risk, because I haven't seen the study. And luckily today, I don't know how Mr. Hutchinson got my phone number, called me and said, we did studies, we looked at this, we looked at this. Okay, I haven't seen any of those studies. I haven't seen whatever he talked about to the vendor. I read the contract. It's something about we're getting money. Fine, and I heard earlier when Mr. Gasper asked, who's getting the money? Okay, if you're risking my children and my teachers, the money should stay at the local school level, not at the county level, not at wherever we're banking this. And also, if there are health issues, is Gwinnett County going to pay for it? Right, we don't know as of right now. Or is the media company paying for it? If there are health issues down the line in the future. We don't know it yet. There's no hard concrete proof based on other arguments, but for us as a parent and the community, there are already cell towers there. Right outside of my neighborhood, which is less than a mile from where the site is that is proposed, we have one already, and there's another one on the other side of Satellite, which is maybe 2 miles away from the schools. And I understand the safety risk that we're saying we can't, or from what Mr. Hutchinson told me is that, Hodgson, sorry, that we cannot say no because of security issues. These are school events. Excuse me.
Thank you so much, Chelsea Hutchings, followed by Peter Case.
This year marks the 50th anniversary of the passing of IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. IDEA is fundamentally a civil rights act. Similar to other civil rights movements and following Brown v. Board of Education, this law addressed equal access and opportunity in public schools. IDEA provides two key protections for our students with disabilities. They have a right to a free, appropriate public education, and they have a right to receive it in the least restrictive environment. When IDEA was reauthorized in 2004, Congress stated that, quote, disability is a natural part of the human experience and in no way diminishes the right of individuals to participate in or contribute to society. Improving educational results for children with disabilities is an essential element of ensuring equality of opportunity, full participation, independent living, and economic self-sufficiency for individuals with disabilities. They continue, quote, almost 30 years of research and experience has demonstrated that the education of children with disabilities can be made more effective by having high expectations for such children and ensuring their access to the general education curriculum in the regular classroom to the maximum extent possible. However, they also found that, quote, the implementation of this chapter has been impeded by low expectations and an insufficient focus on applying replicable research on proven methods of teaching and learning for children with disabilities. I feel this in my own IEP meetings, where I am met with solutions rooted in outdated practices and a refusal to acknowledge newer, proven methods of teaching and learning supported by now over 50 years of research. When I talk about inclusion in education, I am talking about one of the two main pillars and purposes of IDEA, least restrictive environment. This has to be talked about because public school was not built with students with disabilities in mind. So we have to do the work of continuing to improve how we intentionally include all students. What continues to burden and bother me is that the word inclusion may be losing its meaning, especially in our public schools. Inclusion is not a box to check. It is not just being in the room. Inclusion cannot be measured in minutes, and it's not a buzzword. But in schools, this is how inclusion is being treated, and the real meaning and power of the word inclusion is fading. Why is it this way? Because from the top down, in every corner of the school system, there is leadership that still does not understand that inclusion is a basic human right, and they do not have the mindset for it yet. You have administrators, for example, who feel way too empowered to tell parents that their child has to earn their place in the gen ed setting. They're choosing antiquated systems and convenience over students' rights. Inclusion, when done with fidelity, is not a burden on schools. It is a reflection of their values. I am asking the board, our leadership at the ISC, and our school admin to lead this change by working on mindset change, providing robust training and coaching rooted in evidence-based best practices, and really show we value and live inclusion, not just say.
Thank you. Next up, we'll hear from Peter Case, followed by Kathy Russo.
Good evening. I wrote some stuff down, and everyone is much better at speaking than I am, so I think I'm just going to tell you guys my story and hopefully borrow a second of your time. So my name is Peter Case, the father of 4 young boys, 3 of which are at elementary school in Simpson or about to be. They all also have summer birthdays. Recently, we were made aware of a change in Gwinnett County that I use the word change. I don't know what actually changed with regards to ruling, but I guess more directly, we moved back to Gwinnett County Public Schools intentionally. I'm a product of Gwinnett County Schools, so in some ways me being here is kind of y'all's fault. We love Gwinnett County Schools. We believe in public schooling intensely. We moved specifically to this area for this reason. Our oldest son, summer birthday, we had to decide if we put him into kindergarten before he was academically ready for that setting, or if we give him the grace of another year of development and enter on his terms with the best possible chance for success. Our second son, we did the same. Our third, hopefully, we'll do the same next August for his August 19th birthday. What we found out recently, however, was that that will no longer be permitted. There is a hard cutoff that despite years of guidance from the county, from individual families, we're now being told that the families can no longer make that decision ourselves. There's a couple main concerns with this. The first is that everything that we read on this and have studied on, it points to summer birthdays and boys in particular, delaying entry into kindergarten until they're academically ready makes the most sense. So this decision, just at first on its face, is a little confusing. Secondly, I think that the manner with which we heard about this, back channels, no official communication from the county, it's very difficult to stomach. We've heard from dozens now of other families who are shocked, who didn't know that come May, when they go to register their child for kindergarten, like they've been planning like we have for the last 4 years, that will no longer be the case. So I've heard a lot of talk tonight about all of the board recognizing with the changes how important it is to be vocal with the community, to have transparency, to get parents to weigh in. I think that this is an awesome opportunity for you all to live those words and show everyone that you can stand by this. So I ask you to pause this decision and gather feedback from the community. Thank you.
Next up, Kathy Russo, followed by Misty Purcell.
Good evening. retired Gwinnett County Public School teacher with 50 years of teaching experience. I have a degree in special education, a master's degree in learning disabilities, and a specialist degree in educational leadership. I hold certifications in elementary and middle school education, special education, and gifted education. I consider myself somewhat of an expert in education. However, tonight I am here in my current and probably most cherished role, which is that of a grandmother. Both of my children are graduates of Norcross High School. Like Peter, one of them purchased a home in the Norcross cluster because of the wonderful experience she had growing up in Peachtree Corners, and because of the outstanding reputation of Gwinnett County Public Schools. My daughter wanted the same experience for her 2 boys. Her youngest, Luca, has a May birthday, is small for his age, and is an extremely active little boy who cannot sit still for any length of time. Both my daughter and I knew that he was nowhere near ready to start kindergarten this school year. Even his pre-K teachers recognized his lack of readiness, as we were all aware that the kindergarten curriculum in Gwinnett County today is more like the first grade curriculum of years past. Based on our knowledge of current curriculum and our deep understanding of Luca's needs, we decided to provide him with another year to mature by enrolling him in a 4 or 5-year-old pre-K program. He is developmentally where he needs to be, and he's thriving emotionally, socially, and academically. Many of us feel as if we have been blindsided by the board, suddenly requiring that all 6-year-olds be placed in first grade starting with the 26-27 school year. When the first grade curriculum requires students to know how to read upon entering first grade, how can you expect a child who totally bypasses kindergarten to thrive? These children could be playing catch-up for their entire academic career. Early childhood experts generally agree that children learn best when they are developmentally ready. Pushing children before they're ready can have serious detrimental long-term effects on their psychological and educational development. This new policy could also have a major impact on school resources, teachers, classroom behavior, and test scores. Extra academic support teachers may be needed, costing GCPS more money in the long run. I have often told people that GCPS is a class act from the top down because every policy adopted at the county and local school level was based on what is best for children. Sending children to school before they're developmentally ready is not what is best for children. Nobody knows a child better than their parents, so let them decide when they should start school. The GCPS website posted a candidate profile for superintendent applicants. The post states, "The next superintendent must be student-centered." Please ask yourselves if this new policy is what's best for children and is in child's...
Thank you. Misty Purcell, followed by Darlene Mary Motley. Misty, Darlene. Next up, we'll hear from Steve Smith, followed by Tanisha Banks.
If you weaken the standard to accommodate incompetence, you weaken the culture. A fantastic quote that is also a hard truth that too many in this room refuse to believe. A life lesson that when not taught or ignored can lead to lifelong detriment and disappointment. Once again, we stand at a crossroads looking for yet another person to lead this district. Last time you pretended to be looking for somebody to move us forward. This time it's blatantly obvious you're looking for someone to keep sinking us in your vision. Look no further than the job description posted by Alma, and I suspect written by some of you in those seats. Superintendent will bravely address equity by closing achievement gaps and eliminating disparities and taking bold action to ensure access opportunities and resources are available for every student to thrive. Is listed higher than superintendent will build on the success of GCPS and ensure the school system remains committed to learning. Key responsibilities, all about social emotional learning, restorative practice, various race groups, fosters a growth mindset where equity, inclusion, and, excellence are the standard. Hell, the first line in here is a lie. Gwinnett is not one of the fastest growing counties in America. However, our neighbors in Dawson, Jackson, and Barrow counties are. Almost seems like people are leaving Gwinnett for surrounding areas. I wonder why. Could it be that some people are tired of our standards being lowered? I personally proofread a 7th grade gifted English group project last week. It had 11 sentences in a row, no punctuation, no capitalization, a full-blown run-on paragraph, and no points deducted. Standards matter. Training proper pronouns correctly matters. Otherwise, Adrian helping her Uncle Jack off a horse has a totally different meaning. The third core belief listed by Alma is lifelong learning is essential, yet y'all have done the same thing for 4 years in a row and not learned a damn thing. You weakened our standard and we still aren't improving. You blew over $100,000 on Alma to write a job description that reads like a bad Tinder profile. Just be honest, you want somebody whose only standard is doing whatever you ask. Last month, Ms. Stone went on in the work session about not being able to find work in her preferred field because she's on our board. But if that's the case,
Please be reminded not to refer to staff members in your comments.
Ma'am, it's in the standards. I'm allowed to address you directly. If that's the case, find a different field like the rest of us do when we look for work. But we shouldn't change our meeting structure to fit one person's convenience, just like we should not change our entire school system to fit 5 people's vision. We want our kids ready for life, not a crybaby drum circle outside an unemployment office. When it comes to that standard, you have all failed our teachers, our staff, and our kids. Until the voters in districts 1, 4, and 5 wake up and realize that, we are all culturally ruined. And no, it's not misogynoir for me to make that statement. It's those 3 seats that came up with all this nonsense to begin with. If you want to honor the Gwinnett way, like this job states, then get out of the way and hire somebody who actually wants hard work, tough discipline, and the standards we used to have. Sadly, someone who fits that description most likely will not want to work for you. I've learned my lifelong lesson. I'm done trying. Best of luck to the few left who still want to.
Next up, we'll hear from Tanisha Banks.
Good evening, board members. There should be no surprise by what we have heard here tonight from the crazy MAGA cult member, who are the minority in this county, by the way, continue to stoke hateful, racist rhetoric for all to hear. Why do they do that? Well, we have 2 male board members who share the same values. Why do you say that, you may ask? Well, Mr. Gasper was endorsed by Moms for Liberty.
Please be reminded not to use staff names.
Pro-segregationist, extremist, anti-student, inclusion, topped with conspiracy propaganda, parent group. That is why, at last month's working session, he was so triggered when he heard the word privilege as Dr. Therese was explaining life experiences of others.
Please be reminded not to use staff names.
He automatically assumed it was about race, which it was not, and called her a racist, which is so foolish because showing empathy for others' life's experiences is not racist. It's reality. It's empathy. It's humanity. Secondly, the other male board member has already been exposed by our own GCPS students who publicly called him out right here on this microphone about his Islamophobic posts on social media. That board member, second male board member, had to publicly apologize only after he got called out and exposed by our precious students. Here at GCPS, we don't need this foolishness. So pay attention to how the 2 men vote on this board. Equity is not a slogan or a buzzword. It is a responsibility. Gwinnett County is a majority-minority county, so get over it. We refuse to let this kind of mindset to plague our school system through policies, procedures, or programs not conducive to the safety of our children. We are Gwinnett County, and we embrace all religions, cultures, and walks of life. We are an inclusive county, and we love all people. My sisters up there, you got this. The community voted you in for your values and vision. We believe in you, and we got you. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for your comments this evening. Now we will have remarks and comments from our board members.
Thank you, Chairwoman Dr. Simmons, and thank you everyone who came and supported the meeting today. I know we're running a little bit longer, but just really appreciate everyone just staying and listening. I had an opportunity, I always share events that I've had an opportunity to support. This governance team, and I really appreciate your support today and over the past few weeks. Today's decision was hard. It was very nuanced, very layered, and I really appreciate the governance team, including our interim superintendent and the staff who worked really hard to meet with community and host information sessions across the district, gather all the data so that we could get this right for our students. And as I mentioned earlier in my remarks, we have a plan for the future for communication, for new additions, so stay tuned for that. I also had the opportunity to attend governance training, which we discussed superintendent search with our firm. And the board, we really focused on closing gaps and addressing the individual needs of our students. And so that's something that I am super excited to continue. And last but not least, I want to highlight Fort Daniel Elementary. I had opportunity to attend their chorus night. It was their first chorus concert, and it is one of their largest new clubs, and the students did a phenomenal job. They sounded very angelic, and it was just really incredible to see all of their hard work come to life under the leadership of Dr. Daniel Castillo and Dr. Barbara Tucker, so shout out to those two individuals. And in the meantime, I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you all for coming out again this evening. I always appreciate seeing y'all out there and your willingness to share with us your concerns, your comments, and so we come to the end of our final board meeting of 2025. I was blown away by our representation of our 74 schools for PBIS. I saw a number of principals that I've gotten to know over the years, and was going to start writing down names, and the list was too long. So just congratulations to all District 2 schools and all schools. That is a great accomplishment, and the fact that over half of our schools are seen trending in those key areas in the right direction is really fantastic to celebrate. The day after our last board meeting in November, we had our Teacher for a Day breakfast. Always a fantastic morning to celebrate the intersection of our business community and our school community, and it was a great morning, and the fact that we have 120 or so, maybe 130 business people that will take an entire day and try to keep up with our principals, who do a phenomenal job. I know one of the things I hear more often than anything is, how do they know every child's name when they've got schools of several hundred, even sometimes over 1,000 students? And that's the kind of principals that we have. So that was a wonderful celebration. The night after Thanksgiving, I was just watching some high school football. Unfortunately, Gwinnett is not going to crown a champion this year, at least Gwinnett County Public Schools. But I did hear something in that broadcast that brought a smile to my face as they gave out or announced the Sportsmanship Award. The Sportsmanship Award did go to a GCPS school. Mill Creek High School got the Sportsmanship Award this year. That's not an award that we're going to recognize here, unfortunately. Maybe we should make an exception at some point in time, Dr. Taylor. But no, I just thought that was fantastic, and it was great to be able to reach out to Jason Lane, the principal at Mill Creek, and congratulate him for that. And I think that just speaks really well of the school, the community, the families, and I think they're representative in large part of Gwinnett County.
Final thought for, I do hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season, has a very merry Christmas. The Caravallos who have been here talking about safety in our schools, that little girl gave me a candy cane and a little figure, says Jesus loves you. And I appreciate that. And I want you to know Jesus loves you too. Have a great holiday season.
That's exactly how I'm going to begin mine. I got a candy cane and Jesus too right up here. She gave me mine as well at the beginning of the meeting, so just really, really cute. But no, I too had an opportunity to attend that principal for a day celebration breakfast with the business community and the principals, and it's just fun to see the camaraderie in the room of that whole interaction and how how they all come together and just the excitement that they all share. And it's something that I want to take a chance to participate in. And at some point in my tenure up here on the board, we don't always get the opportunity to do it, but every once in a while a slot or two will open up for us board members to participate. And so I'm definitely gonna do that, because it's, if you ever seen that show Undercover Boss, it's kind of like something that you always want to do. It's just kind of get a feel of what it's like to be in the shoes of a principal for the day. So that's something that is it definitely is of interest to me. Congratulations too to all the PBIS winners, and that's for me an incredible piece of work that our school system does, because it is one that really inspires good interaction in our school building not only between the students, but between students and teachers, and then all of that, I truly believe, then translates back into the home life, into the community, in interactions with students and friends, and it creates a whole positive atmosphere that just really emulates across the community. And I think that's just very good, important work, and it's something that it's important that we celebrate that. Really happy about the work that we did around redistricting, and I think not only the community that came out and did all the hard work, but I think the work that the board did, the governance team, all the work that the team did behind the scenes, Rachel, all the work that you did behind the scenes, it is a heavy lift, and I know this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. So I know we got to buckle up in the next couple of years, because we have work to do in our own individual districts. So. We got to roll up our sleeves, and the real fun begins. Y'all kind of heard us talk about kind of the new meeting cadence, and I hope it's something that our community could appreciate moving to next year, separating the meeting dates, and y'all can get a chance to come see how we really do things in the evenings, give you a chance to come experience what we do during the day, to hammer out some of our presentations and kind of see how things really get done here in the school system, in addition to what we do here tonight in the business meeting. I know being the last meeting of the calendar year and coming right up against the Christmas holiday, I know my kids are excited. Tomorrow's the last day of high school finals, and we got a long break coming up, but I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays. Whatever the holidays you celebrate, please enjoy the time off with your family, with loved ones. Take some time off from work, disconnect. Don't think about anything other than just your own personal meditation and whatever that looks like, and be ready for the new year and start fresh. So hope you guys enjoy that time to yourselves.
This is a season of light. We have celebrations of Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, winter solstice. This is a moment for us to see how we work together as a community and really be the light for one another, and also understanding. And for me, I am hyper-conscious of understanding that when we talk about light, it doesn't mean that we demonize the darkness, and that in darkness you also see the beautiful brightness, and that's where you see the stars, and that's a beautiful quote by Kamala Harris. And I consciously embraced that. And I want to share today was a beautiful day around light of the work that we're doing. The light that was shown in the community of Grayson and the community of the people who came out and spoke tonight, and the power that you all generated to be able to use your voices and impact change. The light that we got from our staff when they came in for the expat teams and talked about how we can continuously improve our educational system to meet the needs of all of our children. The light of each of those presentations and the recommendations that they shared also gives us hope. And so the light of hope that I have is really something that I carry with me today from those expat presentations, and I'm super excited the future of the work and the light of the work of our policy committee, our board, and how we passed policies today. We made some really difficult decisions, and this is the work, the continuous work that we have to engage in, and just the light of joy from knowing that we can celebrate in this season however we celebrate with one another and really be in community. And really, we are one of the most diverse counties in the nation. And we celebrate so many different religions, so many different cultures. And for me, as a Black Jewish woman, I celebrate Kwanzaa, Hanukkah and Kwanzaa, and those are very powerful celebrations for me personally. And so I'm looking forward to the community that's going to come out on Sunday to join us at Hooper Renwick Library and celebrating Kwanzaa and the beauty of the principles of community and unity. And so I just want to close with Ometz Lev, big heart, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, and thank you all.
We made it. We made it to the end of 2025. Our kiddos have one last day. I just want to encourage everyone in light of the global unrest that we are experiencing. I'm sure you're aware of the headlines as of late. I encourage everyone to really be intentional about taking time out to rest as we end this year. Take time to reflect. Students, teachers, staff, leaders, board members, take time to reflect on your wins that you've had this year and to unpack any lessons learned that you want to take into the next year, any lessons learned that will benefit you in your pursuits moving forward. But most importantly, be sure to appreciate the journey. It's not a final destination. It's not the final destination that's important, but it's the journey. Take the time out to really appreciate the journey, appreciate the people that are along with you on the journey. That's what's important. People are important. Value people over processes. Value people over profit. Enjoy and recognize and let the people around you know that you love them.
Well, the hour's late, so I'm gonna keep this brief, but I definitely would be remiss if I didn't extend one, just ditto whatever all the board members shared, but also extend just heartfelt appreciation to the community who's still here, the staff. We've had a full semester, but we had a really good semester, and I think it's really set us up for a good close to this school year when we come back in the spring. To the Grayson community specifically, I did want to also share with you that for these 5 board members, this was a really tough decision for them. They labored over this, and I know they labored because I spent hours on the phone with each one of them, sometimes multiple times a day, and they really wanted to ensure, and I think the way Dr. Simmons framed it, that they got that balance. They didn't want to be in a conflict between this whole concept of empathy and equity. And so they struggled with it. And the reason I wanted to uplift that at this moment, when we think about, there were 3 big rocks that we started with that we had to get accomplished this year. And there's some other significant ones, but there are 3 primary ones. One was getting a SPLOS passed, doing this redistricting, which was also a really hard thing to accomplish in any year. But when you combine those 2 and you layer on top a superintendent search, I wanted to uplift the idea of how they've labored over this decision, just to give maybe put to rest any doubt or concerns. The way they approach the SPLOS, the way they've approached the redistricting, I think it's safe to say they're going to approach the superintendent search in the same fashion, with the same level of care, with the same level of concern, and with the same level of highly focused, critical thinking and approach to this work. And I think this is them coming into stride. We're very happy to support the recommendation that was made with the redistricting, because we recognize the tremendous effort and struggle that they went through, and our focus is always making sure that we support the board and that they're always set up for the success to the extent possible. This comes at a great time to have 2 really big rocks cleared. Most districts don't have to contend with both at the same time. And so if there are any doubts about how they're going to approach this process, I think we can all rest assured that they'll continue this trajectory of being really, really hyper-focused on making sure that we get this right, just as they've done with the SPLOS and with redistricting. So with that, happy holidays, however you choose to spend them, or however you choose to celebrate, or if you choose to celebrate. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that everyone is safe and healthy when we return, and we are looking forward to having an even better second semester than we had with the first semester. So turn it back over to you.
Now, we have to have a motion to go back into executive session, so we are not finished with our work. Because we had the hearing today, we needed to end our session earlier to allow time for the hearing, and now we're going back into executive session. So if there's no other business, I need a motion to reconvene executive session in the executive boardroom for the purpose of continuing our conversation in executive session.
I make a motion to reconvene executive session in the executive boardroom for the purpose so stated.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you.
We are now in executive session.
We are now in executive session. Thank you all. Our building will be closed in about 15 minutes.